8 hidden signs that angels are in your home. Are you alone right now? Or do you only think you are? Look around. Feel the air in your home. Does something seem different? A presence you can't explain, a shift in the atmosphere, an unseen force watching over you? Could it be that angels are right there, beside you, protecting you, guiding you, without you even realizing it? Angels, messengers of God, powerful, unseen, ever-present. But how do you know they're near? What if you've been missing the signs all along? What if, at this very moment, your guardian angel is trying to tell you something? What if you've ignored every warning, every whisper, every gentle touch from the divine? In this powerful revelation, we'll uncover 8 hidden signs that angels are in your home. These are not coincidences. These are not figments of your imagination. These are real, divine signals, proof that heaven is closer than you think. But the question is, will you recognize them before it's too late? Have you ever felt an overwhelming sense of calm when you should have been afraid? Have you ever found a white feather in the middle of your living room when no bird was around? What about flashes of light, shadows moving in the corner of your eye, or an unexplainable warmth during prayer? These are not random events. These are messages, signs that you're not alone. Too often, we're trapped in the noise of life. We rush, we worry, we stress, and in the chaos, we forget that God's divine messengers walk among us, watching, waiting, trying to reach us. But most people, they're too distracted to notice, too skeptical to believe. And that's exactly why so many feel lost, abandoned, unprotected. But you are here for a reason. You are meant to know the truth. You are about to unlock the unseen world that surrounds you. Because once you recognize these signs, your life will never be the same. You'll feel the comfort, the guidance, the divine protection you've always longed for. You'll finally know, without a doubt, that God's angels are real. Stay with me. Open your heart. Open your eyes. By the end of this, you'll never question again. The signs are there. The only question is, will you see them? The first hidden sign, a deep, unexplainable peace. Have you ever been drowning in fear, grief, or pain, only to feel an overwhelming peace wash over you, as if heaven itself wrapped you in its embrace? Have you ever sat in the darkest night of your soul, expecting despair, yet instead, you felt calm, unshaken, protected? If so, you may have already experienced the first hidden sign that angels are in your home. Peace. Not just any peace. Not the kind that comes from silence or stillness, but a divine, unshakable calm. A presence so strong, so comforting, it defies all logic. When the world around you is chaos, when anxiety should crush you, but instead you feel secure, that's not normal. That's not coincidence. That's God. That's His angels. The Bible speaks of His peace. Psalm 91 verse 4 says, "He will cover you with His feathers, and under His wings you will find refuge." Picture that. A shield, a fortress, a place of safety where no harm can touch you. Angels stand guard, unseen, yet powerful, ensuring that nothing, no fear, no evil, no darkness can break through. But how many times have you ignored this sign? How often have you dismissed this divine protection as just a passing feeling, just a moment of quiet? Too many people do. They chalk it up to coincidence, to circumstance, never realizing that heaven itself is reaching out. This peace isn't just a feeling. It's a message, a whisper from God, reminding you that you're not alone. That no matter the storm, no matter the trial, He is there. And when angels surround you, even in the fire, even in the battle, you will stand. You will not fall. Philippians 4 verse 7 tells us, "And the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus." This peace isn't the absence of struggle. It's not about everything being perfect. It's about standing in the storm and knowing, without a doubt, that you are held, protected, watched over. But here's the real question. Have you been listening? Or have you been too distracted, too consumed by the noise of life to notice? We live in a world that pulls us in 1,000 directions. Phones ringing, news flashing, worries piling up. And in the middle of all of that, God is speaking. His angels are near. But most people, they don't hear him. So the next time you feel that deep, unexplainable peace, don't ignore it. Pause, acknowledge it, pray, give thanks. Because that moment, that presence is not just a fleeting feeling. It is proof. It is heaven touching earth. It is your guardian angel standing right beside you. Now, let's move to the next sign. Because once you see one, you'll start seeing them everywhere. The second hidden sign, white feathers appearing unexpectedly. Have you ever walked into a room only to find a single, delicate white feather lying on the floor, when no window was open, no bird was near, and no explanation made sense? Have you ever picked up a feather, feeling a strange warmth in your heart, an unshakable sense of comfort, as if someone, something, was telling you, you are not alone? If this has ever happened to you, don't brush it off. Don't call it coincidence, because it's not. White feathers are one of the most powerful, most undeniable signs that angels are near. They are a whisper from heaven, a gentle yet undeniable message that you're being watched over, protected, and guided, even when you don't realize it. Think about it. A feather, light as air, yet it lands exactly where you will find it. Not outside, where birds roam, not near an open door, but in your home, on your pillow, in your path, in the very place where you will see it, pick it up, and wonder. That is not random. That is intentional. That is a sign. The Bible confirms it. Hebrews 1 verse 14 says, "Are not all angels ministering spirits sent to serve those who will inherit salvation?" Angels are messengers, protectors, guardians assigned to watch over God's children. And sometimes they leave behind proof, a reminder, a physical sign of their presence. In Genesis 28, Jacob had a vision, a stairway stretching from earth to heaven, with angels ascending and descending, a divine connection between realms. That connection still exists today. White feathers are one of the ways heaven reaches through the veil, letting us know, we are here, we are near, we will not leave you. But how many times have you ignored these signs? How often have you bent down, picked up a feather, and thought, this is nothing? Too many people do. They dismiss the miracle, the message, the proof that their prayers have been heard. And that's why so many people feel lost, forgotten, alone. But you have a choice. You can see what others don't. You can recognize the divine messages hidden in plain sight. Because when you start noticing these signs, you will never feel alone again. So the next time you find a white feather, don't ignore it. Stop, hold it, feel it. Let it remind you that God's angels are near, that heaven is watching, that you are protected. This is not just a feather. This is a gift, a message, a touch from the divine. And once you see this sign, you will start seeing the others. Because the truth is, angels are everywhere. You just have to open your eyes. Let's move to the next sign, because what comes next is even more extraordinary. The third hidden sign, mysterious bright lights. Have you ever seen a sudden flash of light out of nowhere? A soft, glowing orb, a streak of brightness in the corner of your eye, a shimmer that disappeared before you could focus on it? Have you ever felt like the light itself was alive, as if it was watching, surrounding, protecting you? If this has happened, don't ignore it. Don't dismiss it as a trick of your eyes, because it's not. These unexplained lights are one of the most powerful, undeniable signs that angels are near. Light has always been a symbol of divine presence. In the Bible, whenever an angel appears, there is light. Acts 12 verse 7 tells us, "Suddenly, an angel of the Lord appeared, and a light shone in the cell." The light wasn't just a glow. It was a declaration, a sign of God's power, His presence, His intervention. Now imagine this. You're in your home, going about your day, when suddenly a quick flash appears in your peripheral vision. There's no lamp flickering, no reflection, no source, but there it is, a glow that vanishes before you can even process it. You shake your head, you move on, but deep down, something lingers, a feeling and awareness. What if that wasn't just a light? Too many people ignore these moments. They assume their eyes are playing tricks, their mind is tired. But what if it's more? What if it's a message, a whisper from heaven, a sign that an angel is closer than you ever imagined? Think of Luke 2, verse 9, when an angel appeared to the shepherds, and the glory of the Lord shone around them. That light wasn't just illumination. It was God revealing himself. And he still does. Today. Right now. Even in your home. So ask yourself, how many times have you seen these lights? How many times have you questioned, doubted, ignored the possibility that you were witnessing something divine? The truth is, angels don't always speak with words. Sometimes they speak with light. You might notice it during prayer. A gentle glow in a room, as if heaven itself is listening. You might see it in a moment of fear. A flicker that reminds you, you're not alone. And then there are those moments when a light appears right before a breakthrough. When you're struggling, doubting, feeling lost. But then a flash, a shimmer, a glow. A presence. A divine reassurance that God is near. If you've ever seen these mysterious lights, don't dismiss them. Don't turn away. Instead, pause. Acknowledge them. Feel them. Because when you do, you will begin to recognize what so many others miss. The presence of the divine shining right before your eyes. And once you've seen the light, you'll never see the world the same way again. Now, let's move to the next sign. Because the more you see, the more undeniable it becomes. The fourth hidden sign, sudden temperature changes. Have you ever been sitting in a warm, comfortable room when, without warning, a chill runs down your spine? Have you ever felt a sudden rush of warmth? A strange but comforting heat that seemed to wrap around you, like an unseen presence was standing close? If so, you may have just experienced the next undeniable sign that angels are near. Temperature shifts. Unexplainable. Immediate. Supernatural. These changes in the atmosphere are not random. They're not just drafts in the air. They're messages, whispers from the spiritual realm. And yet, how often do we ignore them? How many times have we shivered, pulled a blanket over our shoulders, and never stopped to wonder what was really happening? In 1 Kings 19, the prophet Elijah was waiting for the Lord's presence. First, there was a mighty wind, but God was not in the wind. Then came an earthquake, but God was not in the earthquake. Then a fire, but still God was not there. But after the fire, there was a gentle whisper. And in that whisper, Elijah felt the presence of the Almighty. What does this mean for you? It means that God's presence isn't always loud. Sometimes it comes in the smallest, subtlest shifts, a sudden coolness in the air, a warmth that wraps around you like an embrace. Sometimes, angels don't announce themselves in blazing light or thunderous voices. Sometimes, they make their presence known in a simple change of temperature. Have you ever been in deep prayer, eyes closed, heart open, and suddenly you feel it? The room feels different. The air changes. A chill brushes against your skin, but you're not afraid. Instead, there's a deep, unshakable sense of peace. That's not just weather. That's not just coincidence. That is divine presence. Or maybe you've been sitting in sorrow, lost in grief, feeling utterly alone, and then, out of nowhere, a gentle wave of warmth washes over you. Not from the heater, not from the sun, but from something else, something greater, a presence, a reassurance, a sign that you are not alone. In Exodus 3, when Moses approached the burning bush, he felt the heat of God's presence. The fire did not consume the bush, but it was there, a symbol of power, of divine intervention. That same warmth, that same energy still manifests today. And when it touches you, when it surrounds you, is a reminder that God's angels are near. But here's the question, do you recognize it? Or do you dismiss it, just like so many others? The world has conditioned us to ignore the supernatural, to explain away the things we don't understand. But the truth is, these sudden chills, these comforting waves of heat, they are real. They are heaven breaking through. They are proof that angels are watching over you. So the next time you feel it, pause. Close your eyes. Acknowledge it, because that moment, that shift, that change in temperature, it is sacred, it is holy, it is God reaching out. And once you felt it, you will never doubt again. Now, let's move to the next sign, because the more you open your heart, the more you will see. The fifth hidden sign, a sweet, unexplainable scent. Have you ever been sitting in your home, lost in thought, when suddenly a sweet, heavenly scent fills the air? A fragrance so pure, so comforting, yet completely unexplainable? No candes, no flowers, no perfume, and yet it lingers. Gentle, familiar, divine. If this has ever happened to you, don't ignore it. This is not your imagination. It's not a trick of your mind. It is a sign, a whisper from heaven, a touch from the unseen world, reminding you that God's messengers are near. Throughout history, scent has been a sign of the sacred. In the book of Exodus 30:34-36, God commands Moses to create a holy incense, a fragrance meant only for his presence. A scent so sacred, so powerful, that it was never to be used for anything else. Why? Because aroma carries meaning. It is a bridge between realms, a sign of holiness, a proof that the divine is near. Now think back. Have you ever smelled the unmistakable scent of roses, frankincense, or a warm, sweet aroma when there was no earthly source? Have you ever walked into a room and suddenly felt surrounded by an invisible presence, a sense of peace, warmth, and love, as if something far greater than yourself had just entered? That was not an accident. That was not coincidence. That was a sign. Many believers have shared their experiences of angelic scents, fragrances that appear out of nowhere, especially during moments of deep prayer, grief, or reflection. Some describe the scent of roses filling the air like a divine bouquet, a fragrance long associated with the Virgin Mary and angelic visitations. Others recall the rich, earthy scent of frankincense, the very incense used in ancient worship to signify God's presence. And then there are those who experience a fragrance unlike anything on earth, a celestial aroma, indescribable, but unmistakably holy. But here's the question. Have you noticed? Or have you brushed it off? Too many people experience these moments, but never stop to recognize them for what they are. They assume it's nothing, a trick of the senses, a passing moment, but it's not. Song of Solomon 1 verse 3 tells us, "Pleasing is the fragrance of your perfumes. Your name is like perfume poured out." God's presence carries a scent, a divine aroma that touches the soul, awakens the spirit, and reminds us, we are never alone. And yet, the world has conditioned us to doubt, to explain away the mysteries of heaven, to ignore the subtle miracles happening right before our eyes. How many signs have we missed? How many messages have we overlooked? But you are different. You are here. You are seeking truth. And now, you will never see or smell the world the same way again. So the next time a sweet, unexplainable scent surrounds you, don't dismiss it. Embrace it. Close your eyes. Breathe it in. Let it remind you that angels walk beside you, that heaven is near, that God's love surrounds you in ways both seen and unseen. This is not just a fragrance. It is a message, a reminder, a sacred moment, a sign. And once you recognize it, you will never doubt again. Now, let's move to the next sign, because the more you open your heart, the more you will see. The sixth hidden sign, a mysterious sense of companionship. Have you ever been sitting alone in a quiet room, yet felt like someone was there with you? Have you ever sensed a presence, unseen but undeniable, watching over you, walking beside you, standing behind you, as if they were shielding you from harm? Have you ever felt a warmth, a deep, overwhelming comfort when no one else was around? If you have, don't dismiss it. You are not alone. This is one of the most powerful signs of angelic presence. A feeling, a presence, a certainty. You cannot see them, but you can feel them. In the moments when you needed protection, in the times when your heart was heavy, in the nights when you cried out to heaven, someone was listening. Someone was near. The Bible speaks of this divine protection. Psalm 91 verses 11 to 12 tells us, "For he will command his angels concerning you, to guard you in all your ways. They will lift you up in their hands, so that you will not strike your foot against a stone." Imagine that. Angels lifting you up, shielding you, standing between you and danger. Now think about it. How many times have you walked into a room and felt a shift in the atmosphere? How many times have you been overwhelmed by loneliness, only to suddenly feel a peace, a warmth, as if someone had wrapped their arms around you? That's not just a feeling. That's not just your mind playing tricks. That is heaven drawing near. Many people have described feeling a gentle touch on their shoulder, a light pressure on their back, as if someone was reassuring them. Others have heard soft whispers, inaudible yet deeply felt, words of comfort, encouragement, and peace. And some, in their most desperate moments, have sensed a presence standing next to them, unseen but undeniably real. But here's the question: have you noticed? Or have you ignored it? Too often, we explain away the supernatural. We tell ourselves it was nothing, a trick of the mind, a passing thought, and yet, deep down, we know something greater was at work. In Daniel 10 verses 10 to 11, Daniel describes an encounter where he felt a hand touch him, setting him on his knees. The angel spoke, telling him he was greatly loved and to not be afraid. Imagine that. A divine presence, sent by God, reaching out, offering reassurance, reminding Daniel that he was not alone. And neither are you. So many people live their lives feeling abandoned, forgotten, unseen. They cry out to God, wondering if he hears them. But what they don't realize is that he already answered. He already sent his messengers. His angels are here. The next time you feel that presence, pause. Listen, close your eyes. Feel the warmth, the protection, the peace. Don't brush it off. Don't call it coincidence. Instead, give thanks, because at that moment, heaven was closer than you ever imagined. This is not just a feeling. It is a sign, a sacred moment, a divine assurance. And once you recognize it, you will never feel alone again. Now, let's move to the next sign, because the more you open your heart, the more you will see. The seventh hidden sign: meaningful coincidences and divine synchronicities. Have you ever thought of someone, only for them to call you moments later? Have you ever been struggling with a problem, only to stumble upon the exact answer in a book, a sermon, or a conversation at precisely the right time? Have you ever been lost in uncertainty, only to see a sign so clear, so perfectly placed that you knew, without a doubt, it was meant for you? If so, you've experienced something that is not random. These aren't just coincidences. These are divine synchronicities, moments orchestrated by heaven to guide you, protect you, and remind you that you are not alone. Most people overlook them. They dismiss them as luck, chance, or just a strange twist of fate. But what if I told you these moments were actually signs from angels, working behind the scenes, aligning things perfectly so that you end up exactly where you need to be? In the Bible, we see examples of divine synchronicity time and time again. One of the most powerful comes from Esther 6, when King Ahasuerus, unable to sleep, randomly decides to read the royal records. In those records, he finds a story about Mordecai, a man who had saved his life. This seemingly small moment of curiosity sets off a chain of events that ultimately saves an entire nation. Was that coincidence? No, it was divine intervention. A perfectly timed event, set in motion by God's plan, ensuring that everything unfolded exactly as it was meant to. And this happens in your life too. Think about it. How many times have you prayed for an answer, only to find it in the most unexpected place? How many times have you struggled with doubt, only to hear a sermon that speaks directly to your heart? How many times have you looked for a sign, only to see the same number, the same phrase, or the same message appearing over and over, as if heaven itself was speaking to you? That is not a coincidence. That is a message. That is an angel at work. Acts 8 verse 26 gives us another example. An angel tells Philip to take a specific road. He obeys, not knowing why. only to encounter an Ethiopian official reading scripture, searching for understanding. This meeting leads to the man's baptism, a moment that would change his spiritual journey forever. What are the chances? None, because it wasn't chance. It was God's perfect timing. The same thing is happening in your life. But the question is, are you paying attention? Too often, we ignore these moments. We brush them off as luck, coincidence, or simple probability. But when things align too perfectly, when events unfold in a way that is so precise, so meaningful, that it feels as if they were woven together by an unseen hand, that's because they were. This is how angels work. They don't always appear in bright lights or booming voices. Sometimes they work through timing, through alignment, through the perfect placement of people, words, and events at the exact moment you need them. Think about the times you were on the verge of giving up, but then something happened. Someone reached out. A door opened. A path cleared. A message arrived at the perfect time. That wasn't just luck. That was divine orchestration. And if you've seen these moments in your life, then know this: you are being guided. You're being led. You're not walking this path alone. So the next time something feels too perfect to be random, pause. Recognize it. Say a prayer of thanks. Because at that moment, an angel may have been working on your behalf, moving pieces, aligning details, ensuring that you received exactly what you needed at exactly the right time. This is not just chance. It is a sign, a holy whisper, a divine alignment. And once you start recognizing these synchronicities, you will begin to see them everywhere. Now, let's move to the next sign. Because the deeper you look, the clearer the truth becomes. The eighth hidden sign, dreams and visions of angels. Have you ever had a dream so vivid, so powerful, that when you woke up, it felt more real than reality itself? Have you ever seen an angel in your sleep, standing in brilliant light, speaking words you didn't fully understand but felt deep in your soul? Have you ever woken up with a message in your heart, a sense that something divine had just happened? If so, don't ignore it. Dreams are one of the most powerful ways angels communicate with us. They're not just images of the subconscious. They're messages, warnings, and revelations. They are heaven's way of speaking when the world is silent. The Bible is filled with moments where God speaks through dreams. Genesis 28 tells us of Jacob's dream, a vision of a stairway reaching up to heaven, angels ascending and descending. When Jacob awoke, he trembled, realizing he had just witnessed the divine. He declared, "Surely the Lord is in this place, and I was not aware of it." How many times has God spoken to you, and you didn't recognize it? Too many people brush off their dreams. They wake up, shake their heads, and dismiss what they saw. But what if that dream was meant for you? What if that vision was a warning? A promise? A sign from heaven itself? Look at Joseph, the earthly father of Jesus. An angel appeared to him in a dream, not once, but multiple times, guiding him, warning him, protecting him. In Matthew 1 verse 20, an angel appeared and said, "Joseph, son of David, do not be afraid to take Mary as your wife." Later, another dream warned him to flee to Egypt, saving the infant Jesus from Herod's wrath. These were not just dreams. These were divine instructions. And God still speaks this way today. Many believers have reported waking from dreams of angels standing over them, wings outstretched, speaking words of comfort, protection, and purpose. Some describe a light too bright for human eyes. Others feel a presence so strong that even after waking, they are left in awe. But here's the real question. Are you paying attention? Have you ever woken up with a clear message in your heart, as if something had been placed there while you slept? Have you ever had the same dream over and over, as if someone was trying to get your attention? That is not a coincidence. That is a sign. Acts 2 verse 17 declares, "In the last days, God says, I will pour out my spirit on all people. Your sons and daughters will prophesy. Your young men will see visions. Your old men will dream dreams." This is happening now. To you. To those around you. To those who are willing to listen. So the next time you have a dream that lingers, don't dismiss it. Write it down. Pray over it. Ask God what it means. Because in that moment, you may have just received a message from heaven itself. This is not just a dream. It is a sign, a calling, a whisper from the divine. And once you recognize it, you will never sleep the same way again. Now take a deep breath. Look back. Think. How many of these signs have you already seen, but ignored? How many times has heaven tried to reach you, but you weren't paying attention? Angels are real. They are here. They have been guiding, protecting, and warning you in ways you may have never realized. The signs are everywhere. In the peace that suddenly washes over you. In the feather that appears with no explanation. In the mysterious glow, the sudden chill, the scent that carries a message. In the feeling that you are never truly alone. Do you see it now? This is not a coincidence. It never was. Every moment, every sign was placed in your life for a reason. God is calling you. But the question is, will you answer? One day this life will end. One day, we will all stand before the gates of heaven. And on that day, what will you say? Will you be ready? Or will you look back with regret, realizing you missed every sign, every whisper, every message that God sent to save you? Don't let another moment slip away. Open your heart. Seek His presence. Pray. Drop your prayer in the comments below. Let your voice be heard in heaven. Let the angels surround you, guide you, and protect you. Because when the final day comes, when the last breath leaves your body, there's only one question that will matter. Did you follow the signs? The time is now. Don't ignore it. Don't wait. Type your prayer below and let heaven answer.